I'm Dr. Mahammad Rafi, Associate Professor, Department of Cybersecurity at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I want to discuss about the computer network subject, in which the topic is elements of transport protocol. The outcome of this element of transport the protocol is understanding of the transport layer the function. That means now transport layer of the protocol, these are the protocols managing the data delivery and reliability, efficiency in a communication. Next, these are the protocols which TCP and UDP, utilization of the TCP and UDP, the connections, the communications should be very reliable. Comparison of the connection oriented and connectionless can be compared with the element of this transport layer of the protocol. The differentiations can be done. And knowledge of the mechanisms. So now it's segmentations. Segmentations, flow control, error handling, congestion controls and multiplexing can be achieved with help of this transport the protocols, elements of transport the protocols. And applications. So real world the scenario, different types of these in applications now. These transport the protocols, elements of the transport the protocols can be applied and solving the real-time scenarios. So real world the problem, real-time problems can be solved. Here, which is provide the very secure file as transactions, and the introduction about the elements of the transport of the protocol. Transport of the protocol generally which is responsible for reliable, ordered and error-checked data delivery. So that means now the data, whatever the data is the transmitting from sender to the receiver. So with help of this the protocols, that is a transport protocol now. So TCP and UDP protocols, generally these two protocols we are using in the transport layer. So these two are the transport of the protocols. These are all the reliable. Reliable means now accurate data, exact data now without other loss. We can send from the source mission to the destination mission, and it will be the order. Then in sequencing order. Ordered means now whatever the data we are going to sending from source to destination. So it will be in a sequencing order, can be sent from source mission to the destination missions. Error checked data delivery. If is there while delivering the data from source to the destination now, if is there any errors now, detecting and identifying the errors now without the error free, the data can be delivered between these various the applications over a different other networks. Generally, the elements of a transport protocol generally we will consider segmentation and resembling. So this is one element. Segmentation and resembling, what it is doing means now large data packets or large the information that can be divided into the smaller segment. Why? Because now the smaller segment effectively transferring the information from source to the destination with a smaller other segments. Larger, suppose if the data packets are very larger, so it is somewhat complicated. The bandwidth is more bandwidth is required for data transmission from source to other destinations. That's why larger messages or which are divided into the smaller other segments for the transmissions. Here is now, so these the receivers which is at this receiver side now, which is resembling the segments into the original message. Whatever the source or the mission transmitting, that the transmitting the source and the information that will be resembled. So this is about the segmentation and resembling can be done with help of this the elements of the transport protocol. Next, the element is a connection establishment and termination. Here is Connection establishment and termination means now if you want to transfer the data, you have to establish the connection between the two other devices. That is a connection establishment. And once the transactions are successfully completed, so after that now, so the termination will be the close. That means now the connection will be the close. That is terminating this connection. That is disconnecting these whatever the devices are connected, that communicating devices. So that will be the disconnected. Connection oriented the protocols. Connection oriented the protocols. The best of the protocol is the TCP protocol is a connection oriented protocol. So these before transmitting the data in a connection oriented, you have to establish the other connection. Then only after establishing the other connection, then only transmitting the data from source mission to the destination missions. Termination, that means termination connections using the mechanisms like three-way handshaking. That means the connection is established once the exchanging is completed. Data exchanging is over. So that will be terminated by using this technology, three-way handshaking technology. By using this technology, the termination will be the disconnected. What is a three-way handshaking means? Generally, which is used for connection establishment. Three-way handshaking can be used for connection establishment. The things we are using, the synchronization acknowledgement, and the acknowledgement. These are the things can be used in a three-way handshaking. Three-way handshaking, by using this three-way handshaking, the connection can be established between the two devices. The three-way handshakes are used in a TCP, transmission control protocol. It will be used. So by using this one now, establishing a reliable connections. Establishing a reliable connection between the client and server. Between the client mission and the server mission, the reliable connection can be established, which ensures both parties are ready to communicate. That means center side mission and destination other side missions are ready to communicate and agree for the initial sequencing number. Here, this is about the three-way handshaking. And three-way handshaking now, generally, the things now can use the synchronization. First, the synchronization can be used. The meaning of the synchronization is the client sends the synchronization packets to the server, now which is initiating the connection, which is requesting for the connection establishment. So this is the synchronization. Synchronization packets now, which is indicating, which includes the initial sequencing number. Initial sequencing number, for example, SYN. SYN, these are the keyword can be used for the synchronization. So that is the initial sequencing number. SEQ, that is 100 with initial sequencing number 100, which is sending to that destination device, that is a server. Client to the server now sending the synchronization. So in a three-way handshaking technique. Second thing is synchronous acknowledgement. The synchronize and acknowledgement. Once the server is received the synchronous signal, immediately the server mission, what it is doing means now the server responds with a synchronous acknowledged packet. That is a SYN, ACN are the packets that will be responded. These are the packets acknowledged. The client synchronization, that means acknowledge client synchronization plus 1. Client synchronization are the plus 1, and which includes own initial sequencing number, that is a server ID. Server the sequential the number. For example, now the server mission, once if it is received the synchronization signals from the sender, that is a client mission now, immediately which is responded back the synchronous acknowledged signal. That is synchronous, that is a CQ, synchronization. That means now synchronization the value is 500. Synchronization value is 500, the acknowledgement is a 101. Along with this, the synchronization now, acknowledgement also is sent to the sender, ready to. Why? Because now, so this indicates synchronization acknowledgement, which is indicated ready to receiving the connection, ready to exchanging the data. So this is an indication for the SYN and acknowledgement. Acknowledgement here, the client sends the acknowledgement packets. Here is the acknowledgement packets now. The client, the mission, what it is doing. Once the the client which receives the synchronous the acknowledgement of the signal from the server. Immediately what it is doing now, which is sending the acknowledgement packets to confirming the receipts of the server response. Recipient of the server, the response. Now the connection, once the acknowledgement sent to the server, immediately the connection is established and start the data exchange between the client and server. After this three-way handshaking mechanism, now the client and server, they can start exchanging the other data. So this is the three-way handshaking. Here is the connectionless the protocol. Connection oriented protocol is a TCP. TCP is a more reliable. Why? Because now in a TCP, if the connection is the connection is established between the client and server, reliability, that means data loss is not occurred in a TCP communication. TCP is a protocol oriented communication. So connectionless protocol is not reliable comparing than the TCP. So here is the connectionless the protocol UDP. Generally, it is a UDP is a connectionless the protocol. Here, the best example for the connectionless the protocol is telegrams, postal telegrams. This is a connectionless protocols. It is not reliable. And here, wireless the communication also the best example for the connectionless now. So it is not reliable here. No guarantee to delivering the data is connectionless the protocols, such as UDP, usergram datagram protocols. These user datagram are the protocols. Now what it is doing now, don't establish the connections before sending the data. Here is not establishing the connection before sending the data. But the TCP now, which is establishing the connection before sending the data to the sender mission. Client and server missions are established the connection in a TCP. But in a UDP here, the connection is not required. It is not established the connection before sending the data that between the client and the server missions. They sense data direct without a handshaking mechanism. But the TCP now, which is using the connection oriented now for sending the data, that handshaking the mechanism is by using this handshaking mechanism, the data can be transferred from the sender mission to the the sender mission to the receiver missions. So this, but comparing these connection oriented services now, UDP are very faster and more efficient for certain applications. These UDP the protocols are, so these are all the more the efficient for certain the applications, more reliable and more the efficient of certain other applications. So there is a connectionless the protocols. Here, some of the key characteristics of a connectionless the protocols. First, no connection is established between the client before sending the data. That means unlike the TCP establishes a connection. UDP does not use the three-way handshaking signal. So this is one characteristics of a UDP, user datagram protocol. That is a connectionless the protocol. The sender now simply what it is doing now, sending the packets, that is a datagram in the form of the datagrams. In a UDP here, the packets can be arranged in the form of the datagrams. So sending these the datagrams to the receiver without the prior coordination, without the connection, direct, which is the sending to these receivers. Here is the no reliability mechanisms. No reliability mechanism is another characteristics. That means now why no reliability means now? Reliability means now, which is meaning of the reliability is a guaranteed that the data will be reaches to the other destination, guaranteed whatever the data transmitting from the sender, so that data will be reaches to the destination. Exact data can be reaches to the destination. That is a reliable transmission. But in a UDP here, there is no reliability, which won't provide the reliability, doesn't give the guarantee for data transmission from source mission to the destination mission. The packet delivery or order here, the error or the corrections now, which is not giving the guarantee. So this is a no reliability mechanism and faster. So if the packets is lost, UDP does not retransmit it. But in a TCP here, if any packets are lost here, immediately the packet loss can be identified and again retransmitting the data in a connection oriented now. So connection oriented, that means reliability and efficiency can be improved comparing with the UDP. So UDP here, which is not retransmitting, data retransmitting. That means application must be handled if it is needed. Next, this here is the faster and lightweighted UDP. UDP which data transactions can be done very fast. So whatever this information is a very lightweight. The UDP protocol is a very lightweight, and why? Because now it is a connectionless. That's why it's a very lightweight and transmitting the data packets or information very fast. Since the UDP now which lacks the connection management overhead. It's a very faster than the TCP. Comparing with the TCP, it's a very faster than. Why? Because it's lightweight as the process, lightweight the protocol. This one. Generally, so these are the UDP protocols are used for the many applications. Now, whatever the applications having the low latency. And real-time other communications also here. Low latency means lesser time delay. Whatever these the data transmissions having the lesser time delay now, so it is utilized. These are the UDP the protocols are utilized such type of this application. And also now real-time the communications also now these are the UDP protocols they can be utilized. Here is no flow or congestion control. Generally, this UDP now what will happen means now the UDP which does not regulate the data flow between the sender and receiver. The regulation is which is not regulate the data, which is not data transmission not is fixed here. So irregular the data transmissions can be done between the sender and receiver, between the client and server. So that's why it is not regulating the data flow. If the network is congested, when the network is congested means now the data is overloaded. So whatever the data is sending by the sender and by the client now it will be the overloaded. The packets may be dropped without any notice. Now here the packets that should be dropped without any other notice. Best effort delivery. Now it will do the best delivery now for transferring the delivery to the other destination, which is showing the very best effort now. UDP now which delivers the other packets on the best effort basis. So in time now within this fraction of seconds now within the time bound the packets can be delivered to this other destination missions. So that is the better the effect can be shown by this UDP protocol. So that means now so they may arrive out of this order or not at all. So this is the best the effect can be showing here. The receiving the applications must be handled the missing. So missing data or unordered data. So here it will be must handled. Here is the flow control. Next, the elements of the transport of the protocol is a flow control. Flow generally which ensures that sender does not overload the receiver. So with too much of the data at once, generally this is a congestion. Congestion will be arised. If it is not overloaded, controlling the data flow mechanism will be the control. If it is overloaded to the receiver here, we can't this the protocol now which is can't control the the data overflow from the sender mission to the other receiver other mission. For example, now TCP which uses the sliding window protocol mechanism. Transmission control protocol now, which is by using this sliding window control mechanism to managing the flow control. That means whatever the sliding window protocol, what it is doing now in the form of the slides. In the form of the sliding windows now, the data packets can be transferred. That means depends upon the whatever the capacity, depends upon the capacity of the this mission, capacity of this network now. So it will be transfers the data packets from the sender mission to the receiver the mission. And error detection and correction. Here, so these TCP transmission control now, which ensures the very reliable data transfers. Why? Because now detecting the errors and correcting the errors. detecting the errors and correcting the errors now, again retransmitting the data. So that is a reliable the transmission can be done. That is error correction and error detection that can be done different mechanisms. Error correction, error detection can be done by using the checksum mechanism or sequential numbers. Now, the sequence of numbers can be assigned to the packets. What are the data packets now we are going to transferring from the sender mission to the receiver mission? Here, the sequence of numbers can be assigned. If any sequencing number missed, immediately the receiver mission now which is detect the error. Immediately that will inform to the other sender, so it is retransmitting. That means a very reliable data transformation can be done in error detection and error correction, and acknowledgement can be sent to the server mission now, the receiver mission, what it is doing now. If any packets are missed, immediately which is sending the acknowledgement to the sender mission, that is sending the acknowledgement to the client missions. Here is so this is the error detection and correction mechanism. Next, the multiplexing and demultiplexing is another element of the transport layer protocol. So these are multiplexing and demultiplexing now, which allows the multiple applications to use the network simultaneously. That means here, so multiplexing, nothing but many other inputs which is producing the single output. Demultiplexing is the reverse for that one here, which multiplexing, both the demultiplexing now, what it is doing now, which is using the port numbers. Network of the port number, from which network or device is the port number, from which other device now the information or data is incoming, and identifying the application of the processes, which identifying that the application of the processes. And for example, here HTTP on port 80, FTP file transfer of the protocol, which is coming from the port 21. So identifying with help of this the port number, so multiplexing, demultiplexing can be done very effectively. Congestion control. Congestion control is another element of the transport layer protocol. So generally, the congestion will be occurred whenever the overload is in a network now, whatever the data is transmitting over this other network, whenever the data is overloaded, whenever the data is overwhelming. So in these other cases now, the congestions will be arise. Now here is the preventing the excessive the traffic from the causing the network congestions. Network congestions here. So TCP, transmission control protocol, what it is doing now, which is uses the congestion control algorithm. Different by using this the congestion control algorithms are congestion avoidance, fast retransmitting, slow start, like different Dextra algorithm. So here is now different congestion the control leaky bucket algorithm, token bucket algorithm, different types of these the algorithms now. So that can be used and effectively transmitting the data. Next algorithm is for the shortest path here, very effectively the data packets can be set here. The TCP now, which is using the congestion algorithms like a leaky bucket algorithm, token bucket algorithm. These are all the congestion control algorithms now. By using this congestion control algorithm here, controlling the other congestions, controlling the overloading of the data over the network. Here, the acknowledgement and the retransmissions. Acknowledgement, that means now, if any packets are not received by the receiver, if any errors are occurred while transmitting the data from sender to receiver, generally these acknowledgements can be sent by the server mission to the sender. Now what it is doing now, which is ensuring the data is received correctly by the sending the acknowledgement. That means now by sending the acknowledgement, which is ensuring that data is received correctly, and retransmits lost or corrupted the packets. If any packets are corrupted, if any packets are lost, so that will be the transmitted. And the quality of the service. Quality of service means now, these are the protocol now which is providing the quality of the service between the source and destination. That means now, which is supports to prioritize the certain type of these other traffics. Supporting the certain type of the other traffic now, quality of service can be provided. So that will be used in real-time applications. Used in real-time applications over here, voice over the internet of the protocol and video streaming. That is Netflix. The Netflix is the best example for the video streaming and voice over the conference, any conference calls. So voice over the internet of the protocol. Here is this in this now the transport layer of the protocols which is providing the quality of the service that can be provided to the certain type of these traffics, controlling traffics. Security mechanism. Here is this transport layer protocol now. So which providing the high security, like now encryption, decryption. The encryption, decryption, the mechanism can be utilized with this at this transport layer, the protocols. Here, by utilizing this encryption, decryption mechanism now, providing the high security can be provided. So, for example, transport layer security, which works on a TCP, transmission control protocol only. For high secure other communication, the data will be the high securely. Addressing means now port number and that particular the device IP address now exact data can be sent to the exact device. Whatever the expected device is there, with help of this IP address of that particular device and the port number now, so the data can be dispatched to that particular device. These TCP UDP uses the source and destination ports for this communication. So this is the best. This is the example for the addressing. For addressing the content or information to the particular the device. Or different applications which is running on a different devices. So here the addressing is required. Addressing now which is combine the IP address and the port number. By combining of this port number along with IP address, along with the IP address now, the data transmissions can be done very effectively to the particular device, the destination device. The examples of the transport of the protocols are generally in a society, in a market now, we are using the TCP, transmission control protocol. So this is the best example for the transport layer protocols, and examples are the UDP protocol. Transmission the control protocol is a very reliable and connection oriented protocol. Accurate the data here, whatever the data now we are transmitting, that accurate data can be delivered. That is a reliable. And it is a connection oriented. Connection meant before establishing the data transmission now, the connection can be established. After then now, data can be transferred from the sender mission to the destination missions. Here is now UDP, user datagram protocol. User datagram protocols are very faster than comparing with the TCP protocol. These protocols are connection, the services can be provided. So without the reliability of the feature, which is that means no, without reliability, that means it is not that much of reliable comparing with the TCP. Data losses now, if it is data losses will be happen many while communicating from the two other devices. So UDP is unreliable comparing with the other TCP. SCTP, that means Stream Control Transmission Protocol. So it is also one of the transport layer protocol that can be utilized. That means here in a SCTP stream control or the transmission protocol now, what we are doing now, we are combining the features of the TCP features or UDP features. So that means it is a multi-homing or multi-streaming purpose now we can use. Here, this stream control transmission protocol now we can use for the connection-oriented or connectionless. So for both the other purpose now, which is used for multi-purpose protocol, SCTP protocol, that is a stream control and transmission protocol, is a multi-purpose of the protocols. Whatever the actions now we are going to perform, whatever services now we are going to providing with help of this TCP and UDP. So both the features can be combined and all the services can be provided with help of the SCTP protocol. Here, the conclusion of these elements of this the transport of the protocol, transport layer protocols now is very important, which is playing there is TCP UDP protocol now, which ensuring the seamless of the communication between the different applications, between the different applications which are running over the network, now. Here it is providing the different on different other networks. The effective communication can be provided. TCP UDP protocols. Now these are the TCP now which is providing the very reliable and very in a sequencing order. Data can be transferred in a sequencing order, and also error check delivery can be done here. It's a very reliably sequencing order. Data can be sent in a sequencing order. So errors are checked, delivered to this other destination, making it is a very suitable for the applications that requires the accuracy. That requires the accuracy, such as web browsing and emailing, or the here is now we are using the TCP the protocol, supporting to the TCP IP along with the internet protocol. Now these are the protocols can be utilized. So this is about the elements of the transport the protocol. These UDP now, which offers the fast the connectionless the transmissions, and these are the protocol now. Here the implementing the very efficient and security the applications. So what are the security applications on both the sender and receiver? So specific the requirements now. These are the protocols can be the designing and implemented. And for these elements of the transport layer protocol, the textbooks are data communication and networking, and the computer are the networks S10 and BOM. So these two books are good for the elements of the transport of the protocol. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.